In this video I'd like to show you how to make a classic Irish crochet granny square. It's quite an easy pattern and it's got many different applications. I found this particular one in an old book on the Antiques Pattern Library, so I'll be giving you the link to that, and I'm going to show you how to do it because the pattern isn't very clear and the print isn't very easy to read. So to start, we're going to chain 6 and then join in the first chain. So now we're going to make the classic rose, and in this case we're going to have 6 petals and we're going to have 6 DC with 3 chain between. So we chain 3 for the first DC, chain 3 again, and make a DC into the circle. Chain 3 and a DC all the way around, so we have 6 spaces. So we finish off by making a slip stitch in the 3rd chain at the beginning, and now we're going to start on the petals. In this particular pattern, the first petal is made out of 1 single crochet and 5 double crochet. So that's 1 petal made, and now again we repeat single crochet and 5 double crochet. Everybody's got their own way of making a rose. There are different variations, but they're all equally valid. So you do that all the way around, so single crochet, 5 double crochet in each space. The thread I'm using here is number 20 thread, and the hook is 1.25. Now at the end of the round, slip stitch into the first single crochet, and now I chain 1, turn the work over, and I make a slip stitch round the bar of the double crochet of the previous row, and then I chain 4, and then I make a slip stitch around the next bar. So I do that all the way around, so chain 4, then at the last one I do a slip stitch into the 1 chain I made. So now on the next round we've got 1 single crochet and 7 double crochet on each petal. And then again in the next one, 1 single crochet and 7 double crochet all the way around. So for the 3rd row of petals, chain 1 again, make a slip stitch between the 1st row of petals and the 2nd row of petals, and now we're going to chain 5 and slip stitch between the 2 rows. So once we've got the 5 chains done, we're going to start on the 3rd row of petals, and that is 1 single crochet and 9 double crochet in each space. I'd like to point out you can do this with any thickness thread, any hook you choose, but the size will be affected by the hook size and by the size of the thread. But hook size more than thread size in lots of ways. So the bigger your hook, the bigger the work will be. So you go all the way around, 1 single crochet, 9 double crochet. So when you've done round 3, you do round 4, single crochet and a slip stitch between the second and third row, and this time we're going to chain 5. So chain 5 all the way around. So for the 4th row of petals, we're going to do 1 single crochet and 11 double crochet in each petal, and then work our way all the way around. So once that round's done, chain 1 again, slip stitch between 3rd and 4th layer of petals, and now we're going to chain 7. And again slip stitch all the way around. And for the 5th row of petals, single crochet 1, double crochet 13. So for the next row, chain 1, slip stitch between the 4th and 5th row of petals, and now we're going to chain 8, go around, chain 8, slip stitch all the way around. So for the 6th row, it's 1 single crochet and 15 double crochet in each loop. And for the last row of petals, we're going to make a chain of 10. And for the last row of petals, we'll have single crochet 1, double crochet 17. Now we've done the center flower, we're going to start on the picots. And in the pattern it says to make a picot chain and attach to the 5th. So you end up with an extra picot chain amongst the work. I find it a little bit awkward, so what I just do is a simple little chain of about 5. So this is how I started rather than the pattern in the book. I slip stitch into the 5th stitch of the petal, then it's chain 7, make a picot in the 2nd chain. I do that by making a slip stitch, chain 8, slip stitch into the 3rd chain, chain 2, and then attach it to the 10th stitch on the petal. So this is what you end up with. So now again chain 7, slip stitch in the 2nd, chain 8, and slip stitch in the 3rd, chain 2, and attach to the 5th petal, 5th stitch on the petal. and that's how you work your way around. So I'm going to make another picot chain and attach it to the 5th. In the 2nd, in the 3rd, chain 2, and then in the 10th. So that would be your first row of picot chains, and you work your way completely around the flower. So at the end of the row, I make a slip stitch in the little chain I first made. So this is what it looks like after the first row. And now I start again. So I make one picot chain and I attach it to the picot chain on the row below with just a slip stitch. So I do it in the middle between the 2 picots. But now it's slightly different. So now I'm going to make one of the little petals or little leaves that are in the amongst the picots. So I chain 8. And I make a slip stitch into the next picot chain between the 2 picots. And now I turn the work and I make 16 single crochet on the 8th chain. So that's the 16 single crochets over the chain, chain 2, turn the work round, and now make double crochets on the single crochet, but leave the last one. When you get to the last one, chain 2 and make a slip stitch in the last single crochet. I also tend to make a slip stitch just right at the end, just to secure it a little bit more. Now we start again with a picot chain and we make 2. So I've made 2 picot chains after the little leaf, and now I'm going to make another leaf. Turn the work round again. So chain 8, turn the work round again, and then 16 single crochet, and then a row of double crochet on top. So now you see you've got 2 little leaflets. So you work your way round a little leaflet, 2 picot chains, another little leaflet, all the way around. So you'll have 4 corners. So that's the second row of picots done, and now we're going to add another row of all picots. So to do that, when you get to the leaf, make a picot chain, and you attach the first one to the 3rd double crochet, then you make another one, and you attach that. I usually attach it to about the 10th, and then you make another single picot chain, and you attach that to the 13th. So you've basically added 2 picot chains to the top of the leaf, and then you just carry on and you go round. So this is the 3rd row of picots done, and now the next row is going to again be one with a little leaf. So you see where the 2 picot chains are on the leaf. The next leaf will come between the 2, so it'll come here. So here we're going to make another leaf, so chain 8. So here you have the next leaf. I'm going to carry on now all the way around again, and then another row of picots, and I'm going to make 3 rows with little leaves, and then I'll show you how to join it up to another square. So this is a square that's finished. I've made 3 rows with leaves. You can make more, you can make it as big as you like, and if you want to join 2 squares, so I've done everything on this one bar the last row of picots on the side. So you always need to finish with a row of picots, not a row with a leaf in. So what you need to do there is you make a picot, you make the first part of the picot chain, so chain 7, a slip stitch in the second chain, chain 1, and then do a slip stitch in between the 2 picots on the corresponding picot chain on the other square. So I'll do a slip stitch here, chain 1, and then chain 5, and make a slip stitch in the first of the 5. So you take the 5th from the hook, and then you carry on. So I do again 7, make a picot in the 5th, chain 1, find the next loop, so that'll be this one, slip stitch, chain 1, chain 5, slip stitch in the 5th from the hook, chain 2, and then you make a slip stitch in the next picot chain, and that's how you work your way all the way down. Of course you have to make sure the same sides are facing you, because if you don't, you're in trouble. As you can see, this one's flatter than this one. This is because this has been pinned out. I left it on a board and pinned it out, so it gave it time to stretch. So I'll carry on doing that now, and then I'll show you the end result. So here you have an idea of what it would look like on a bedspread. It's a very, very handy pattern because you can do so much with it. So the next video I'll be turning this into a bag. So this is a white version of the little bag. It's quite beautiful, and it's Ideal for a special occasion like a wedding, or for a little flower girl, or a baptism.